So can everyone please mute themselves unless they have to speak? Just for Zoom etiquette. Thank you. So can everyone please mute themselves unless they have to speak? Just for Zoom etiquette. Thank you. So can everyone please mute themselves unless they have to speak? Do we have to keep that on a loop? Just for Zoom etiquette. Thank you. So can everyone please mute themselves unless they have to speak? So can we start, Siva?
Siva, you are mute.
I'm going to do the acknowledgement.
You're going to do the acknowledgement, Siva?
I can read this.
Thank you.
We acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present, and future traditional custodians and elders of this nation we call Australia, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual, and educational practices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. We acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Islander tribes were the first sovereign nations of the Australian continent. The Gadigal of the Eora Nation are the traditional custodians of this place we now call Sydney.
Thank you. So we're going to play some music and then we'll do the reading. So welcome everybody to our Interfaith meeting. We're going to have a very special talk of inspiration this evening.
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो धीरे शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे
For I will take you from among the nations, gather you out of all countries, and bring you into your own land. Then I will sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean. I will cleanse you from all your filthiness and from all your idols. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will take the heart of stone out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. You shall be my people, and I will be your God. You shall be my people, and I will be your God.
The body is the physical or animal degree of man. From the bodily point of view, man is a sharer of the animal kingdom. The bodies alike of men and animals are composed of elements held together by the law of attraction. Like the animal, man possesses the faculties of the senses, is subject to heat, cold, hunger, thirst, etc. Unlike the animal, man has a rational soul, the human intelligence. The spirit of man has a beginning, but it has no end. It continues eternally. The rational soul, meaning the human spirit, does not descend into body. That is to say, it does not enter it. For descent and entrance are characteristics of bodies, and the rational soul is exempt from this. The spirit never entered this body, so in quitting it, it will not be in need of an abiding place. No, the spirit is connected with the body, as this light is with this mirror. When the mirror is clear and perfect, the light of the lamp will be apparent in it. And when the mirror becomes covered with dust or bricks, the light will disappear. The spirit does not need the body, but the body needs the spirit, or it cannot live. The soul can live without the body, but the body without the soul dies. Baha'i Scriptures.
I appeal to you, brothers, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that all of you agree with one another, so that there may be no division among you, and that you may be perfectly united in mind and thought. Finally, brothers and sisters, rejoice, strive for full restoration, encourage one another, be of one mind, live in peace, and the God of love and peace will be with you. There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. Then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and one in mind.
O Son of Being, with the hands of power, I made thee, and with the fingers of created thee, and within thee have I placed the essence of love, content with it, and seek not else. For my work is very command is binding, question it not, nor have a doubt there. O children of men, know thee not why we created you, all from the same dust, that not exalt himself over the other? Ponder at all times in your hearts how you created, since we have created you all from one same substance, incumbent on you to be even his one soul, to walk with the same feature, the same mouth, and dwell in the same land. that from your inmost, your deeds and actions, the signs of oneness and the essence of one may be made manifest. Such is my counsel to you, O concourse. This is counsel, that they may obtain the fruit of holiness from the trees, glory, Baha'u'llah, Baha'i Scriptures.
The one who strikes others is not a hermit. One is not an ascetic who insults others. Not to blame, not to strike, to live restrained under the law, to be moderate in eating, to live alone, and to practice the highest consciousness. This is the teaching of the awakened ones. Blessed is the arising of the awakened. Blessed is the teaching of the truth. Blessed is the harmony of the community. Blessed is the devotion of those who live in peace. Let us live in joy, not hating those who hate us. Among those who hate us, we live free of hate. Let us live in joy, free from greed among the greedy. Among those who are greedy, we live free of greed. Let us live in joy though we possess nothing. Let us live feeding on joy, like the bright gods. Buddhist scriptures.
I say to thee, weapons reach not the life, flame burns it not, waters cannot overwhelm, nor dry winds wither it. Impenetrable, unentered, unassailed, unharmed, untouched, immortal, all arriving, stable, sure, invisible, ineffable, by word and thought uncompassed, ever all itself, thus is the soul declared. Govern thy heart, constrain the entangled sense, resist the false, soft sinfulness which saps knowledge and judgment. Yea, the world is strong, but what discerns it stronger, and the mind strongest. And high o'er all the ruling soul. Wherefore, perceiving him who reigns supreme, put forth full force of soul in thy own soul. Hindu scriptures.
The believers are nothing else than brothers in Islam. So make reconciliation between your brothers and fear Allah that you may receive mercy. O mankind, we created you from male and female and made you into nations and tribes, that ye may know each other, not that ye may despise each other. Verily, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is he who is the most righteous of you. And Allah has full knowledge and is fully informed. Arabs have no superiority over non-Arabs, and non-Arabs have no superiority over Arabs. You are all equal, except by piety and good actions. I leave behind me two things, the Quran and my example, the Sunnah, and if you follow these, you will never go astray. The similitude of believers in regard to mutual love, affection, and fellow feeling is that of one body. When any limb of it aches, the whole body aches, because of sleeplessness and fever. From the Islamic scriptures.
Okay. Know that the power and the comprehension of the human spirit are of two kinds. That is to say, They perceive and act in two different modes. One way is through instruments and organs. Thus, with this eye it sees, with this ear it hears, and with this tongue it talks. Such is the action of the spirit and the perception of the reality of man by means of organs. That is to say, the spirit is the seer. Through the eyes, the spirit is the hearer. Through the ear, the spirit is the speaker through the tongue. The other manifestation of the powers and actions of the spirit is without instruments and organs. For example, in the state of sleep, without eyes it sees, without an ear it hears, without a tongue it speaks, without feet it runs. Briefly, these actions are beyond the means of instruments and organs. How often it happens that it sees a dream in the world of sleep, and its signification becomes apparent 2 years afterward in corresponding events. In the same way, how many times it happens that a question which one cannot solve in the world of wakefulness is solved in the world of dreams. In wakefulness, the eye sees only for a short distance, but in dreams, he who is in the east sees the west. Baha'i Scriptures.
Thou hast asked me concerning the nature of the soul. Know verily that the soul is a sign of God, a heavenly gem whose reality the most learned of men hath failed to grasp, and whose mystery no mind, however acute, can ever hope to unravel. It is the first among all created things to declare the excellence of its creator, the first to recognize his glory, to cleave to his truth, and to bow down in adoration before him. If it be faithful to God, it will reflect his light and will eventually return unto him. If it fail, however, in its allegiance to its creator, it will become a victim to self and passion and will in the end sink in their depths. Baha'i Scriptures.
Know thou that the soul of man is exalted above, and is independent of all infirmities of body or mind. That a sick person showeth signs of weakness is due to the hindrances that interpose themselves between his soul and his body. For the soul itself remaineth unaffected by any bodily ailments. Consider the light of the lamp. Though an external object may interfere with its radiance, the light itself continueth to shine with undiminished power. In like manner, every malady afflicting the body of man is an impediment that preventeth the soul from manifesting its inherent might and power. When it leaveth the body, however, it will evince such ascendancy and reveal such influence as no force on earth can equal. Every pure, every refined and sanctified soul will be endowed with tremendous power and shall rejoice with exceeding gladness. Baha'i Scriptures.
together the heart, joining the chord all the souls, joining the chord all the souls. Oh Lord, make these faces radiant through the light of thy oneness. Unite and bind together the heart. Unite and bind together the heart, joining the chord all the souls, joining the chord all the souls. Oh Lord, make these faces radiant through the light of thy oneness. Unite and bind together the hearts. Unite and bind together the hearts. Join the chord of the soul, joining the chord of the soul. Oh Lord, make these faces radiant through the light of thy oneness. Unite and bind together the hearts. Unite and bind together the heart, joining the chord of the soul, joining the chord of the soul. Oh Lord, make these faces radiant through the light of thy oneness. And bind together the hearts. Unite and bind together the hearts, the
Thank you everyone for doing the readings and
There's one more.
oh sorry.
This year is centenary of the ascension of Abdul Baha. So Abdul Baha is the son of Baha'u'llah. And we ask small children to say prayers for this occasion, and Lib Muma is 2-year-old and reciting a prayer by Baha.
Oh God, guide me, protect me, make me silent, instead of what you know, never put Baha.
Good girl. Oh God.
Oh God, guide me, protect me, make me silent, instead of what you know, never put Baha.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So we thank you everyone for joining us for our meeting tonight, that we seek to increase our understanding and our ability to create, build the unity of all humanity. We can find the ways to come together and to become better human beings and help in the development of a more harmonized world family. So tonight we have a visionary champion of truth, integrity, and goodness. And this is Tahira, Amir Sultan Khan. She's an author, a speaker, a technologist, and a spiritual futurist. She holds a double major bachelor's degree in computer science and mathematics and an MBA from Melbourne University with high distinctions. She was the first female president of Mobile Alliance Singapore. After 20 years in technology as an advisor and a consultant to international governments, she made the big switch to becoming a full-time author and encouraging other authors to be telling the truth too. Through her life journey, she's transformed to become a Renaissance woman who is able to masterfully interweave spirituality, philosophy, geometry, quantum physics, symbolism, biology, ancient wisdom, poetry, literature, and art. She's received many awards, including the Asian Lady of Excellence in 2017 and the Asia Pacific Golden Brand Award in 2018. In 2019, she founded the pioneering Golden Door for justice through truth and integrity of the written word, to dispel all the false information which is flooding our world and causing so much confusion. So tonight we are going to go deeper in understanding about the soul and becoming the new human, which sounds very, very interesting. So please open our hearts and ears to listen well. Thank you.
So that she actually wanted to share a short video.
Yes,
Yes.
we have a short video first.
Yes, so
When you share this video, when you watch it, keep an open mind. I will explain later.
Okay.
All right. You want me to open the, are you opening the video or shall I open it?
I'm opening it.
Oh, you're opening it, okay. All right.
Introducing the carbon to crystalline theory. Just some of the many theories explored in the book of my spiritual journey through the Golden Door. Here shows the impending crystallization of the skin. There are some theories that claim that we are being changed physically from carbon-based beings with 2 strands of DNA to crystalline beings with perhaps 1024 strands eventually, or more. Because only crystalline substances can exist on high dimensional levels. Furthermore, carbon is necessary to form all DNA, which is part of the chemical core of life, as it currently exists. And the carbon atom has 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, and 6 protons. According to the periodic table of the elements, the atomic number of the carbon element is also 6. From 666, the mark of the beast as in scriptures, to 10-10-10, the sign of perfection. And what is this 10-10-10? Well, more will be revealed in the book. Now some say that our cells must be transformed from carbon to silicon crystal, so that we can withstand the tremendous amount of light that is streaming into our planet. Here's an example of the crystallization of the skin. Be aware this is happening to many people around the planet. Could you be next? Is this part of our advancement? Could it be gold dust particles embedded within the skin? Is gold the foundation of ourselves? Or is it silicon crystal or something else? Think about it conceptually. Unity is the basis of the crystalline. Crystalline structures, clusters, reflect the tight bonding with the purpose of maintaining the integrity of the information to function with greater power. The tightness is that unity. New humans with a greater power? Are we returning to the crystallized tree of life of ourselves? Then back again, what is this 10-10-10? Much more to be discovered in this magical mystical journey. Order now through thegoldendoor.com. Available also on Amazon, Lulu, Barnes & Noble, and more. So, yes, an open mind. All right. Scientifically, what did I show? I was actually showing about ourselves. The new human is, what I showed was the physical, right? I'm going to open up some slides. And before I explain all that, I'm just going to share about how I started into this journey, right? And then you'll understand why I talk about this. And then how eventually it went into truth and integrity. Okay, can I share screen? I can, right? Okay. You can hear me clearly, right?
Yes.
Yes, so becoming the new human, right? I'm just going to share how I got into this. It is a radical change. This is some photographs. This is what I was doing. I was advising governments, working out the e-government framework, Singapore and the Qatar government, and as a technologist. And I was also heading the Mobile Alliance of Singapore, making Singapore the #1 mobile hub in the world. That's what they wanted to become. And of course, I saw the truth of many things, 20 years doing that, some level of corruption that I saw, some level of deception, not so much Singapore, but some international governments, Middle East, I would say. But from a young child, I was always driven by something which was based on justice in some ways. And my first encounter with God was actually when I was 13 years old. This was when I had gone to visit our family in Pakistan. My origins are Afghan and Pakistani, born in Singapore. So when I had visited Pakistan, I was taken away at midnight, and it was a very traumatic experience. It was almost like kidnapping in a way. And you could say molestation, but then I managed to get away. But during that experience, which I'm not going to go in detail about, I had the feeling of the presence of God. And I had the strength to run away. So that encounter changed me completely. And always I was led by God. But strangely enough, when I grew up, I went into technology. I was serving
the governments. I was serving a very, you could say it was purely for the systems, for the country. It was for the military. We were doing major projects for the Ministry of Defense, setting up the police force. This is what I was doing. And there was always this disconnect from who I was. And yes, so there was a total disconnect. I was a humanitarian, really. From a child, I was determined to, I was only interested in knowing God. So as a result, I just sank low into depression. And also because of that trauma as a child, I did not speak much. So even when I took on the role as a president of Mobile Alliance, I was doing all those things, I would barely speak. I literally lost my voice for an entire year after that incident. So I remained a very, very silent person. So never a speaker, never speak in front of a crowd. I would ask my vice president to speak. So in that way, I was broken in some ways. I had never healed, never went through psychological treatment, nothing. Of course, in external world, I was very powerful. And we were running these major projects, government level. And at the same time, I would say that with the disconnect, with that brokenness within, and also facing attack spiritually, if you know about spiritual attack, probably would know about that. My whole family had this kind of spiritual attack. My husband would be bedridden for weeks, and I had to take care of everything. Now phone call rings. Okay, just the right time. Let's hope it turns off. Okay, so with dealing with everything in family, I had to take out everything. And then all this combined, and feeling a misfit, sometimes threatened by, you could say, government organizations to give bribes, to do things which was beyond or not within my values of truth. Even from a child, I was like that. Truth, integrity. Told to do this. We are a government organization. Give the bribe on our behalf. Do this on our behalf. I said, what is this? It's all lies. No, we have to show that we are clean. And all sorts of other things. So I also came from a very wealthy family. Very wealthy. I think Siva knows this. It was so wealthy that we used to have we lived in a 5-story house. One floor was just a changing room for the swimming pools. It was that wealthy. My father would buy a gift for my mother, it would be a Jaguar car for a birthday gift. So it was that amount of wealth. But because spiritual attack, they went through a divorce, and it was millions spent on the divorce, millions. We lost almost everything. So from a very luxurious life to start facing some level of poverty. Of course, we were all entrepreneurs in our family, and we were able to build. All my siblings were able to build business very successfully. But because when, again, I was going through my own trauma, then I started facing my own collapse. I would not want to run my business anymore. I started letting go of people. Of course, they took up new jobs. I had an empty office for 2 years. I didn't want to do this anymore. To lie on behalf of the government, to be their slave. And I was not serving humanity, which was core of my soul. So allowing that breakdown within myself and actually going into that level of, no earnings at all, I was willing to take that step. Because we've seen that with my family. And then I also started receiving revelations. I started receiving visions. I started receiving messages, which I will show now. So this is just some of my journey, I would say. You've already described it in the details in the profile. I will go into this later. new human. Let me go forward. Yes. So this is what happened. I started writing messages to God. I wanted to understand. I was born as a Muslim. Okay. And my father's side were very religious. My aunt was, well, married off as a child, mostly child marriages and forced marriages. My aunt, another aunt of mine was a prostitute. I mean, well, not that she wanted to, but she was for 40 years. So that kind of control on women. And my mother's side also, Pakistani Iranian. So my grandmother was also a child, I mean, not a child bride, but she was a full burqa and just her eyes showing and not even ankles. If she would show ankles from the age of 4, she would get whipped, right? So that she was used to that. So from both sides, there was this abuse of women. My mother faced incest. Well, anyway, so there was a lot there. And my father wanted to change everything. So he taught us to look at everything and to educate ourselves. So because of that good grounding from my father, who wanted to change that control that the women had from all sides, mother and father. So as a result, that was a good thing that I had. And I wanted to understand the Islamic religion more. I wanted to understand all religions. So at the age of 18, before going to university, I finished my A-levels. I took a year off and I just wanted to learn the Holy Quran. And I got my father as my guide, not an imam. I said, no, I want to do it myself. And also I was writing poetry. I had this ability. So he said to me, why don't you go through it and write it in, write what you interpret in poetry, but you won't publish it because it might be controversial, but it'll get you to understand. So I went through the journey of understanding Islam, but I also was guided to understand the law of the universes and through mathematics, which is why I took up a degree in mathematics. There was something more that was leading me. So by the time moving forward to the time when I was breaking down, it was 2011, when I literally shut down the office. And I was taking up meditation. Okay, taking up meditation from understanding fully about Islam. I wanted to start understanding Buddhism, or at least the meditation, diving within. And I used to go to a Thai forest monk who used to come to Singapore every month, and he was amazing. He would spend months in the forest. So he was my mentor. And when I got into that, I remember this first encounter, first experience, angelic. And there's like resounding voice in my bedroom. God is sending a lot of messages to a lot of people right now. And for me, it was shocking because I was brought up in the understanding that there's only one last messenger, and that is Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu. And what is this? I always questioned everything. As a seeker, God is sending a lot of messages to a lot of people right now. Very simple statement. But why was it so important to me? I did not understand. I started writing it down. Okay, my business was slowly closing down. I would say I was stopping projects. The last project was the Ministry of Defense. And I said that, we said to them, no more projects. I'm going into spiritual journey. Of course, they were shocked. At that time, I was still president of the Mobile Alliance with the Singapore government. And they asked me, what are you planning to do? I said, I'm going through a spiritual journey. I'm writing down what I'm receiving. So they were very curious what is going on. I had people like Yahweh, you know Yahweh, right? The chief marketing officer on the board. We had telco heads on the board. So they were very surprised. Anyway, did that. And so my husband and I, we went to Bali, and then for a few years, no earnings at all, because my husband, everything that he worked on stopped, was blocked. His earnings were not coming through. Why? I don't know why. So we became very, very financially hard up. Because I took the journey of being an author, I stopped taking projects, he was not earning, and we were just eating up into all the savings. And then at the same time, I had 2 years of rent to pay, because we were forced to, even though 5-year contract, I had used up 3 years, 2 years, even though an empty office, still to pay every month, a very large amount. So it's just depleting. So I went to a point that I think we even had to just rent out a room, you know, from a person's house. Yeah, it went to that bad. But what pulled me through, because I was receiving so many messages, angelic encounters after angelic encounters. And I was writing something, even though I had no interest in writing, because I was a computer scientist, mathematician. Writing was not me, you know. I didn't exactly do well in English. And well, but something was forming, and I was guided to write characters in my book. At first, I had a strong interest in science. Astrophysics was my passion. So I thought of a book called Transit to Type 1, because I was interested. I will just show you this. I was interested in, yes, the planetary scales. I had inside me a passion for the planet and where we were heading towards as a planet. And I knew that there's a new world that's forming. I already had that unknowing, and that we had to shift to this kind of new world. What was this? So I understood what the planetary scale, the Kardashev scale, was a Russian scientist, Nikolai Kardashev, and how we were at a type 0 and we had to shift to type 1. So I wanted to write a book on type 1 civilization. The type 1 civilization is a limitless civilization that does not depend on fossil fuels. It has the free energy, and also, as I understood later on, was the limitless us, human being. So I was, well, because I stopped my business and I was writing this, Transit to Type 1. We were halfway through. We were nearing to the Type 1. We were almost there, but a lot of things were stopping us. A lot of things blocking humanity on that. So, but my book was not supposed to be purely that scientific. I was guided, as what was happening to me was, it was supposed to be spiritual but scientific, yet a social book, a book about the new Adam, new us, and the new planet. But mainly it was about the new us, the new human. You can call it the new Adam. So now finally, the point that with such a level of having uncomfortable conditions, lifestyle, and started developing tumors in me, non-cancerous, thank goodness, but very large ones. It was, and again, handling everything. So couldn't take it anymore, I would say, and I finally had a breakdown. We reached that 0 point. Again, still, even though years passed, husband's business was still blocked, and I was still writing my book. And then I had, I think my mother was visiting from Pakistan, and we went to visit her. And then I just fell to the floor. It was just an intense crying, which I've never witnessed in myself. I always thought I was kind of a strong person, but I was such an intense crying that I just literally just like died as soul level. My mother was terrified. She just tried to pick me up. And then my husband looked at me, and he's quite prophetic. He can see in the spirit. He's the kind of person who can see ghosts, you know, he sees whatever you could call it, ghost spirits, okay? So he just stood up straight and he said, divinity. Because he saw my palm, my left palm, had a spot of blood in the center of my palm. No pain, but I was dazed, and the spot of blood emerged. And then he saw that, and he just shouted, divinity. And my mother couldn't understand what was going on, and I didn't understand. But I felt like something had come into me. And I was brand new. And I was a new creation. Don't forget, I was a Buddhist. I was a Muslim. Actually, I didn't take on the title. I was a Muslim and also Buddhist, meditation. So I got in touch with a few days later, because I was amazed what is going on here. I got in touch with my monk, a Buddhist monk. And he did tell me something was coming. I didn't understand him. And he was very, very excited. And he said, something is coming. With such joy in his face. So I remember this, I started recording a diary. And that time when I had that, which was a stigmata, maybe, I didn't understand it because I didn't believe in it. I knew in movies. You watch it in movies that created that. Yes, and Sir Francis Assisi and many other women who've gone through extreme pain, they have had the stigmata. Around the 50th day or 51st day, I remember this, I wanted to understand this. And I normally do my prayers standing up, palms out, like the Islamic prayer, you know, with the palms. This time when I prayed, I just thought of Christ because I was thinking about the stigmata. And I still did not believe in all that, really. And then there was an orb of light that appeared, green orb, huge one, and just circulating the room. It just appeared in front of me, and just a fraction of a second, and it turned into fire. No heat, just nothing, just fire. Not cold, not hot. And then again, a fraction of a second, turned into a man. And that man was just looking at me through my eyes. It's like this river of healing through my eyes. Yes. But what was interesting is this man, I felt I knew him all my life. Him, her, whatever gender, but this person, divine being, I'd rather say divine being. I've known this divine being all my life. And that was the being coming. After that, because I knew who he was, Christ? Was it an angel, or Archangel Michael, or was it an intergalactic being? Perhaps. I questioned that, but the presence was very much looked like Christ. Okay. Again, I didn't believe in all that. But after that healing, I would say, I changed as a person. And it was one encounter after another. I went out to find out information about this. And I met with this Australian pastor from Melbourne. And I wanted to speak to her because she was more on supernatural, because my encounters are all supernatural. And yes, she couldn't explain to me what's happening. But I noticed physically there was something happening to me. And she showed me how when she would go really go into one in worship, and since she's really connecting with God, she would literally have gold appear on her skin. She's about 70, I think she's probably now 77, but she literally had gold appear on her skin. She couldn't explain it. But because I was scientifically trained, I decided to research on that. I was researching on the stigmata, I was researching on the orbs, and I was researching on the gold appearing on the skin. And around that time, after my encounter, I had another encounter, which was like I shifted across the realms to a realm which was gold, a golden pathway, which a Buddhist monk did tell me there's a golden pathway, and golden leaves. And there were, instead of human beings, there were spirits. They were flipping in and out of the realm. It's like people were visiting. They were visiting spiritual, us in the spirit visiting this realm, in and out, perhaps an in-between. Maybe perhaps a realm of heaven, perhaps just before that, I didn't know. But all I know is that it was beyond, there was no time there. It was a fifth dimension of beyond. And I was in that space. And then I took something back with me because I carried that frequency. I started understanding about frequencies. I knew about it anyway, my understanding of quantum physics. That's what I found, that because I was going deeper and deeper into the connecting with the Spirit of God, the light, I was physically also changing. This is why I mentioned about the carbon to crystalline. When the mystics, whether it's a Buddhist mystic or Christian mystics, they found that though there were some who were buried and then later on uncovered, and they were still intact. They were crystalline, partially, right? And that oneness and the light of God always streaming into our bodies would transfigure us to be more crystalline. But that involved some level of purification of the heart. So moving away from all the labels that we carry with us, Christian, Muslim, I was told this. And shortly after, I had encounter with the Holy Spirit. That was the fire, which I couldn't understand. When I encountered the Holy Spirit, I had this message. It's not about the labels. You can remain a Muslim if you wish, but it's not about this. You don't even need to change your name. If you have Christ in your heart, it's just your heart. Sorry, what's that? Okay. Admit. Someone is trying to come in. Okay. So you just have Christ in your heart. So I remained. I had received Christ in my heart because such a spectacular encounter I had before that with Christ. I remained a Muslim. I continued my meditations. I kept my name Tahira Sultan Khan. And I started getting more and more information. And the information I found, what I was getting, was that what I was doing for the past 20 years was focusing on the physical technology, e-governance. But I was supposed to shift from the physical technology to the human technology, and how we had to be as humans with a pure heart, and how we had to be persons
of truth and integrity in what we carried out in the marketplace. Right? So what I'm going to do is, that's partially the new human. I will go through some of the messages I got. Okay, so this is here, harnessing the gold within. The gold is a good semiconductor of light. The light of God. And then physically, you will have to change. Everything changes. It's not just spiritually, but physically also. Agelessness, or at least slowing down of aging. Our ability to become, to live longer. Our ability to receive more information. Because we are body, soul, and spirit. And now we need to be more spirit-led rather than soul-driven. We're always talking about soul cleansing. But now it's about being spirit-led and the expansion of the spirit. We contain the intelligence, the mind that we have is contained in the spirit. The expansion of the spirit, our supernatural intelligence increases. Okay, beyond the physical brain. So what I'm going to go through is that, so that's all part of the human. Now, I was receiving all this information, okay, and how it is shift to the human technology. And this is what my book is about. Now, I was still questioning religion. I was, like I say, I was in a transition. I was still questioning religion. I was questioning about this, about Islam and all this. And then when I was praying, and I got this message, and I saw a page in the Holy Quran, I said, well, I can't see the words. I can't see it. It's too far. The words are too small in Arabic. And then it was shown clearly. Surah 253 of the Al-Baqarah was shown to me. And it was an important passage for all to know, especially the Christians and Muslims. And these messengers, back to the first encounter with the angel, God is sending a lot of messages to a lot of people right now. These messengers who've been designated to guide people, we have exalted some of them above the others, among them such as were spoken to by Allah himself, and some he exalted in other respects. And we granted Jesus, son of Mary, clear signs and supported him with the spirit of holiness, Holy Spirit. Had he willed, those who had seen these clear signs would not have fought one another thereafter. It was not until the will of Allah to prevent people from disagreement by compulsion, hence they differed among themselves, whereby some attained faith and others denied the truth. Yet Allah so willed, and they would not have fought one another. Allah does whatever he wills. So we were battling against ourselves in our religious labels. When again, I was told, reinforced about the label. It is not about that. Now, my family, we were half Christians and half Muslims, right? So anyway, so that was another message I received. Again, back to the human. Then I got this one. I was receiving messages about Enoch. And I didn't have much knowledge about Enoch, or even the book of Enoch. And Enoch was, how should I say this? Was a being who just was not, for God took him. There was no record of his birth. There was no record of his death. Is he still alive? And what did it mean? And he was in some ways considered a futurist. I was receiving future information for the present. Don't forget, I was always interested in astrophysics. So I was the right person to receive that. I was receiving theories, new laws for the new human,
for the new societies. And this is under the book of Genesis. He was not. And that shows also about our eternal beingness, which is the Baha'i faith mentions that also, correct? Yes, but also the eternity of physical. That we're not supposed to be sick. We're not supposed to get sick. We can actually counter. Look what's happening in the world, COVID-19. We are supposed to be to a point that such disease don't touch us, because our frequency is so high, just nothing. It's just nothing to us. We vibrate so high in frequency, vibrational frequency. The physical body's vibrational frequency is 72 hertz. If we sink below 72 hertz, we become prone to sickness. But we vibrate higher than 72 hertz. With the oneness with God, we do not, nothing can touch us. So this is from John 14:12. Verily I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and will be doing even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father. So the miracles, the physical changes, ability to manifest. I think someone needs to mute. Okay. All right. Ability to manifest instantaneously. I was seeing manifestations. I will share this thing with you. Might surprise some of you, but I'm going to share it anyway. As the new human, where we are able to rise above the third dimension, the limited dimensions of 3D, we can defy space and time. We can co-create instantaneously. And manifest whatever we think, and we can whatever we perceive, we will conceive. And so everything from manipulating time to gemstones, etc. Also defying something which is not timely. In August 2014, my father had a major heart failure. I used to share my encounters with him all this time. Since I had that heavenly encounter and then all those things I shared with him. But August 2014, he had heart failure. And he, of course, rushed to hospital. And they could not save him. And he was declared dead. Flatline for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours later, he raised from the dead. They had already marked it, had the mark of the mortuary on him, and he came out of it. And that was around the same time. At that time, he was, yes, at the same time, 2 weeks before that, I was receiving the number 711-710. 7 is the number of the presence of God, if you know that. 710-711. 2 weeks later, he had died. He was warded in the ward number 710 and the bed number 711. And in Singapore, because his heart condition was not covered by insurance, because he already had a pre-existing condition, we had to foot the bill. It was a huge bill of $177,000. Just the first day was $89,000, and then after that, just 2 weeks, $177,000, which we had to pay in cash. That was traumatic. But he had raised from the dead. He thought, this is amazing. And what happened is that time in the hospital, somebody just walked in. he would run a antique Persian carpet store, right? Somebody walked into the store and bought $177,000 worth of carpets. Paid the entire bill. He was in hospital. The entire bill was paid. Exact amount. And then my sister was in the US and she was eating some bread. And she almost choked because a gemstone came out of her bread. It was the color of it was his favorite color, turquoise. Exactly the size of the ring which was stolen from him when our house was broken out in about 20 years ago. And she was praying at a time for his recovery. The gemstone appeared. Signs of heaven? I don't know. It's up to you. Manifestations. Why? Why turquoise, his favorite color? He recovered completely. And he told me when he came out of it, went back to work within a week. All the bills paid, $177,000. And then he said to me, I went through a tunnel and they said to me, your time is not up yet. We're giving you extra 5 years. Whatever it is, you can really remember. But what I'm saying is that the greater miracles than Christ, I certainly could not imagine that he'd be raised from the dead. Gemstones. It's not about holding on to those gems. It's just signs of being able to manipulate time and to manifest instantaneously. We are reaching that level. The gold in my skin, which I think you saw in the video, I showed my wrist. At that time, my wrist was glittering gold. Why? Because I was praying so hard for my friend who had a 3rd relapse of cancer, and it was a 5th surgery, and I was so upset for her. Literally, so much light was coming through me that my hands were glittering. And it's not just me, it's everyone, because we are changing physically also. But we have to change within ourselves in terms of shifting our mindset. We shift our mindset, and then the purification of the heart, and then we allow our ability to co-create miracles. It'll be a norm for us. So yes, my father lived another 5 years, and he passed on last year. And of course, many encounters with angels. And my book was released. And the essence of the book was unity with God, because that was what made me and my family what we were. All spiritual attack was gone. We were all thriving, we were fine. Of course, my father had another 5 years. And same thing with my mother also. She miraculously, she had a stroke and she recovered. Anyway, so all those testimonies, it returns the purity of the heart and not about the religious divisions. I had a lot of religious attack when I released my book, I'll tell you that. Because don't forget, I came from a very religious background, you know. You can't mention the Buddhist monk, you can't mention Christ, not allowed. So, but you do what you need to do, right? Yes, so I mentioned here, verily, so the new human, eternal, limitless beings. So there was a trained mathematician, computer scientist who was building systems. From there, I was becoming a writer. I was writing poetry. My understanding of quantum physics raised up. And I was able to interleave everything. Because again, it's the breaking of boundaries. We've always put ourselves in boundaries. It's no longer about the specialist. That's the end of it. It is about the generalist, the return to the generalist who can understand the big picture, yet able to go into the detail for certain topics. This is what we are becoming. And to be able to intermingle the disciplines, that's a new renaissance. We are actually in the midst of this, I don't know, second or third or fourth renaissance right now. As far as I remember, the time when the 1400s, right? The time of the Black Plague, and people witnessed so much death that they were writing about death. They were writing about life, which is what we're going through now, COVID-19 pandemic, 2 years. That time, 100 years ago, more than that, the people were writing about it. So that's just after Shakespeare came in and the Renaissance period started. We are actually entering into a new Renaissance. And many people are realizing that they are becoming messengers. And they don't know where, sometimes they don't understand how come they are so gifted. And they're receiving information. And the people who are engineers or something else, or even farmers, suddenly writing poetry or suddenly writing, knowing quantum physics. I have met a gentleman in New Zealand who was a farmer, and now he's an expert in quantum physics. Yes, so messengers are birthing. This is the new renaissance we're entering into. And when I released my book, I saw another level of deception because I stepped into the publishing world. I stepped into the speaking world. And I said, oh my God, now I'm seeing it everywhere. The exaggeration, the covering up. The publishing industry was acting like gateways. They will only publish what sells well, but a lot of good works were not coming up. The good works which nobody heard about because unknown authors, it doesn't sell very well. You could be a famous journalist, you get your book out. So I was trying to understand, okay, now I've written about Through the Golden Door, my book, about the new human, being limitless beings, walking in God, co-creating miracles. I talked about the DNA, right? The double helix DNA, and how we were going to have an extra strand of the miracle DNA, a third strand. And then I realized that we had to be spiritual marketplace. There's a Greek term which is probably similar to this. The old definition may not apply, but I would look at a new definition. Ecclesias, the overcomers, the new governmental authority, justice, truth, and integrity. Physically change, but also where we execute and walk on earth, changed. So by chance, one of my book was bought by a famous poet laureate in Singapore, who was also on the board of the Commonwealth Prize. And he read my book and he wanted to meet me. He's been on the board of many book awards. So I said to him, the first thing to change things is to work on the written word. Yes, we work on being limitless, but we need to work on the what comes out of us. And the first thing that comes out of us is through the written word, because it takes another level of courage to speak truth through the spoken word. So we need to tackle the written word. Is there a way that would encourage people to write their truth? Because I see the publishers, they're telling me to change my book. Don't mention that you don't need pharmaceutical to heal. Don't mention these things. They'll change your book so you get able to sell a lot, the big publishers. I said, what happens if you really want to speak truth or write truth? He says, well, this is the way it is. This is the way it is. It's the gatekeepers, they control. I said, why don't we encourage the messengers of the truth, of the writers, the truth writers? Is there some way to do that? This is how the Golden Door, Truth and Integrity, was birthed. right? So this is the journey actually. And I just I sometimes question myself. I had no interest in writing. I had no interest in running a platform and awards for writers of truth and integrity. But truth and integrity was something from my childhood, as I mentioned. Justice was important to me as a child, but it was there. But it had to birth into some form. And I realized that we had to make people like us, who know the spiritual values, who also transform physically, so we can have that strength, because our real temple is our physical form. It's not about the church building, it's not about the mosque building, it's our physical form. This is our temple. And I was guided that heaven, or the different realms of heaven, the dimensions, is actually in our DNA. That 88%, the DNA, the 12% is the genetic, where it contains the genes. Then 88% is the black hole, in a way they call it the junk DNA. That is where the realm of God resides, within us. We carry heaven within us. And we had to walk that, we had to be that, we had to make that 88% of our DNA activated. Walking in miracles, performing miracles, and pure heart and values of truth and integrity, and creating a world where the truth writers are able to also speak the truth and also create what they've written about. So we have the truth creators. And I'm focusing now on raising up people, the truth writers, to become truth creators. That means giving life to their messages. It's not good enough just to write. That's the first step, to write based on courage, write based on purity, and which on a truth that is beyond themselves, not on their truth, but a truth that is beyond themselves. Okay, so I hope that I hope I've not lost any of you. Feel free to write something in the comments. Let me see if I missed anything. Yes, so, okay. Geometry, as I mentioned, also in my book. It's all intermingled, no boundaries. The Holy of Holies, if you know the Bible, the wheel within the wheels, Ezekiel 17:21. We have the Holy of Holies within us, and it creates a spin. I'll show that in the next slide. These are all in my book. The black and white hole, WHOLE. Nassim Haramein, the scientist, quantum physicist, talks about the hole. Black is that sucks in, like the black hole sucks in, destroys. But the white hole, the white, which is Stephen Hawking mentions about the creation. White creates. There's a creation that comes out of us. Those gemstones, the gold, was coming out of me. It's a reflection of me. Every one of us is like that. The heaven in the heart and the blood, DNA, and the law of the infinite universe, as I mentioned, that the Metatron's cube. It's all there. It will take me another session to cover all that. I'm just, yes, the spin, easy kills wheel. If they went in any one of the four directions they faced, but straight, but not veering off. The rims were immense, circled with eyes, the living creatures. This is all symbolic. The wheels went and the living creatures lifted off. There's a spin within us. The wheels lifted off. We unleash a power. And quantum physics talks about the torus field. The planet Earth also has a torus field. We allow for that spin, the spin within our hearts. The heart has a mathematical code. We unleash, able to manifest, to heal. to teleport, to do things which you never quite imagined, perhaps in the future. Wherever the spirit went, they went, the wheels taking right with them. The spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. When the creatures went, the wheels went. When the creatures stopped, the wheels stopped. This is the union of us with our spirit, with our field, and our body in fusion, not separate. So it's there in the scriptures. So these are all the revelations I received. And also there were others. There was another one here, which is again, I received. This is just some of them, the law of circulation. I began to understand about the vacuum. This was when I received this information when we had those gemstones, which would appear and disappear. I mentioned about the gemstones, would appear and disappear, appear from nowhere and then disappear. And I realized we're not supposed to hold on to it. And those gemstones were alive in the frequency, which is the fifth dimension, not third dimension where everything is inanimate. Either you're a living being or it's an inanimate object. But in the fifth dimension, everything's alive. And now, recently, scientists have discovered about the time crystals. Read about it. It's been the past few years. They have an aliveness in them. So this law of circulation about the vacuum state, you may assume that the vacuum is empty, but within the vacuum, it's not empty. There are fleeting particles within the vacuum, which exist and don't exist at the same time. And when these particles circulate, matter is created. So this was a sign also that even in nothingness, there is something. And when that is in movement, no stagnation, abundance is created. This defies what we have in our banking laws about wealth accumulation. This defies everything that we think of about holding on or hoarding. That distribution is the essence of humanity. So new human and a new society. We are not supposed to hold on to anything. The more we circulate, the more abundance. Poverty could be eradicated if only most of humanity thinks this way. So I think I will stop here. What I would mention last is that becoming the new human, there are a lot of theories, and it's about the unity, going past the labels, being led by the spirit. Meditating is part of it, but we reach a point that we may not even need to meditate because it'll be natural as part of us. We'll always be habitating above the frequency of the third dimension of the earth. We'll always be habitating in that. And of course, the daily discipline, because we allow ourselves to always be above that. Testing boundaries, testing limitations, and building a new world, not the new world order, but the new world in parallel. All right, I'm going to stop here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. What a fascinating talk you gave us tonight. What a life that God has given you.
Shall I stop the slides?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, please. Yep.
All right.
Yep. Then we can see everybody. And if anyone has any questions, please use the reaction button to put your hand up. So then it's easier to know, because I can't see everybody. Okay, and they're going up. Jung, would you like to ask one question, please? You have to unmute.
Thank you, Tahira, and everyone there. You spoke a lot of heavenly encounter with super, like natural forces, with God and with divine beings. What is your conception, like your thinking, your thought about the dragons?
About the
The dragons? Dragons. Just like if I had a dream that I sat on a dragon, the head of a dragon, and he flew me all around the sky and the earth. And there was a very huge dragon. He's a big one, but he's very friendly with me. And he just came to me and I climbed on his head and I was sitting there and I wasn't scared and he flew me around all night. So can you tell me about, your opinion about, you believe in dragon?
No, is this a dream?
Yeah, it was in a dream. Yeah, so I didn't have to fly. I don't need to fly. I don't need an airplane.
Okay, so this is a dream. So this is a symbolic message, because God, our Creator, speaks to us through our dreams and visions. So in a way that we understand. So the symbolism of the dragon is what you would understand or know of. So what do you know? What is symbolic, perhaps in your culture, of a dragon?
Well, you see, the dragon, they only come across just like, they move around God, they move around the super supremes, divine beings, and they move around skies and the earth and the stratosphere, out of sky, out of the earth, into the space. But I mean, like, why they just, why they just like in the dream, I'm talking about dream here. Because you more like, your book is about golden door. When I was young, somebody asked me to read a book called Narrow Door. A Narrow Door was written by a French writer. And I talked with the golden door, who would be stand at the golden door to check people in. Do you have a free door that people can step in, or you need a dragon to be around there to guard people?
No, I don't look at it that way. For me, the vision of the golden door was shown. It is symbolic. Okay, it's symbolic of the truth and integrity. It's a symbolic of the higher version of ourselves and for the planet. It's through the golden door means going to the other side. I'm not talking about it in terms of what you say is like whether it's a place and guarded by anything. It is for us to move to the other side of ourselves and for the planet. And it's of a much higher dimension version. This is what it's symbolic. And what you receive in your dream is symbolic of a message. So if you mull over your dream, you will have a sense, what is that dream going to tell you? I mean, I have dreams almost like 3 times, 4 times a week. More you spend time in the spirit, in God, in the Creator, the more dreams and visions you will get. But on the other hand, you will also get a lot of dreams if you're very disturbed, if you have a lot of thoughts. So some people who worry a lot, who have a lot of distractions, they may get a lot of dreams which are not really dreams. They're really like a flood of information. The brain also purges information. So it has images. Sometimes you think, oh, this is a dream, but actually it's just purging of information. But so you have to see your state of being. If you receive dreams when you're fairly calm and your mind is not flooded, then it's a real dream. It's a message from the Creator, from God. And it's symbolic because God speaks to us in symbols. Thank you.
Thank you.
Corinne, would you like to ask your question?
I'd just like to know, it's obviously a lot of information to take in a short space of time. I'm just wondering if you're happy through Siva to possibly share the slideshow.
Sorry?
Is it possible to share your slideshow? Or
of course, I will send it.
Yeah, because I'd just like to have a little bit more time to synthesize.
Yes, but the slides doesn't show much. Also, it's just a few slides.
No, it's just reflecting on drawing back on what you've said and.
Right. No problem. I will definitely send it. I'll give it to Siva and Tracy.
And having said that, it's funny. I don't often talk about this because I think sometimes people think you're a little bit nutty. But when I was on pilgrimage with my mum in 2012, she says to me, you've always been, you know, on a bit of a different realm to the rest of the family. And I had a few experiences, and I don't often share them on pilgrimage. And one was when we went into the archives, and I said to Mum, oh my God, can you like that? Can you smell that? It smells like blood. Like it was really, I had this taste of blood, like metallic taste. And she thought like, I'm not, yeah, so that was one experience. And then another one, I was praying in Baji. I think it was Baji. Overlooking, no, it was in Akka, overlooking the ocean. And it was a really, you know, torrential rain, and it was very stormy, and the sea was very rough. And I stood facing the ocean, and I said my prayers.
Yes.
And then when I stopped praying, for that instant, I opened my eyes, and all I saw was the ocean looking out the window, and it was so calm. And I don't often talk about these things, but I think I'd like to get your perspective on whether if we're open to it, we're sent small, I don't know if you'd call them signs or miracles or experiences.
These are signs. Okay, so signs come to us to prepare us. And remember what I mentioned that we have our DNA, right? We have our DNA, and that is transfiguring. And we have that 88, 89, it's not exactly fixed, but we have another universe within us, all right? We have that. We carry so much information. We have so much within us. So what is being reflected out is something which is a desire within yourself that needs to be answered. So within you, you are asking for information, and that is showing. Sometimes people say, oh, why do I see the 111s? It's because your DNA is projecting out that you need to start something. One normally means to begin, to create, right? So it's telling you, you need to start something. You are actually releasing the message.
Right.
We have a binary code within our DNA. And the binary code releases numbers and images and symbols. We have such a power within ourselves. We are in God if we allow ourselves to be in God. When we go more and more, when we actually say, okay, I would like to step into God. I have a meditation that takes you to step in. When you step more and more in, you will see more and more. The veils are opening. We have 4 chambers in our brain. We have 4 chambers in our heart. And these chambers are the veils. The division between the chambers of the heart and the brain is actually the veils. The lifting the veils. So the first chamber opens, the second chamber opens, the third, the fourth. That's the lifting of the veils. And when more and more of our heart and minds purify through the lifting of the veils, the more we will see and sense and feel and know. And we'll also be able to see the possibilities. Law of infinite universes. We are living one reality right now, but there are many possibilities, many permutations out there. But once we start having that belief, okay, I shift my belief system. Now another reality might manifest and you give energy to that reality. And it starts becoming a physical reality for you. So how we perceive, how we look at things, how we question. When you really question in our heart, the desires of the heart is very important. We have to really have that desire, the emotion. Greg Braden, you should read his books, the Isaiah effect. Yeah. So anyway, he talks about the emotion. When you pray with emotion of the heart, we unleash a power. That's the Merkaba, the spin. We carry the geometry. And then we can heal, we can solve, we can manifest. But the power of the human emotion is a gift.
Mm.
So, and the power of the word, what we say, is also, we carry the frequency, the sound, we all have a unique sound. So when you change, when you shift, all these things is how we have an impact. We are the ones, through our free will, impacting our life. So you're getting signs because you want the signs.
Mm.
And you are the best person to interpret the signs.
Mm.
Because the signs are shown to you in the way you will understand them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
I hope
Thank
that
you.
answers.
Thank you. Siva?
Thank you.
Siva, would you like to answer?
Thank you, Tahira. It's very interesting, and I think you have a lot to share. It's a short time. I think it is our, I don't know, I mean, how I stumbled across the Facebook, your name, and how we found you. So I am very much thankful for your presentation. And we started this Interfaith Forum. It's almost 1 year now. I think it's, so your vision is actually trying to bring unity and remove the labels, and we should see things.
And truth and integrity. Truth
Yeah.
and integrity is the essence.
Yes, so I think it gives a good perspective for us. We all tend to look through our own blinkers, whatever that we are. So we have to look beyond. But I just wanted to ask you, because you have mentioned about the Islam and Christianity and Buddhism, how much you know or read about Baha'i faith? Because there is...
I know some. I know some. Yes.
Have
Yeah,
you-
I know some. Yes, I do know.
Yes.
But not as much as I know about Islam and Christianity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's because we are inspired, or at least I'm inspired by the teachings of Baha'u'llah to bring about unity and to remove the
Yes.
barriers or veils that is separating us in whatever way we are causing these barriers. Yes, and the other thing that I wanted to say is that in the Baha'i history, there is a woman by the name Tahira who, and she is very unique in the history of the religious histories. And perhaps when you find time, you will look for Tahira and see that maybe some resemblance between them.
I see.
Tahira, or breaking the barriers and bringing a new way of thinking. So
Okay.
I thank you for that, and that's my comment.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
think-
1, 2, 3, 4. Would you like to say your name and then ask your question?
Yes, my name is Fatane and I'm from Adelaide, Australia. I just wanted to thank Tahira for the very interesting and new and modern subject, which really very interesting to me and hard for me even to understand many of them, because I don't have this knowledge of the mathematics and the physics worlds and all those. And secondly, I'm really very much proud of you as a woman with all your achievement in material world as well as the spiritual world, and your strength and resilience and your trust in God. And as Perry explained, I am coming from a town, the name is Qazvin, and that is the town which Tahira he was talking about, coming from the city which I have come, and I really feel close with your name, Tahira, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
As I mentioned, I didn't very much understand what you said because it's beyond my knowledge and my brain, but little bit that I could relate, it was somehow close to the Baha'i teaching. And especially if you could read about writings of Abdul Baha, who is that this year, 2021, is the 100 years of his passing that we are celebrating in the Baha'i world. He has explained a lot about the physical world and the all the galaxies and all what you have explained, that I have little bit information. So, and my question was exactly the same as question of Perry, that you have mentioned a lot, or you said you studied about Christianity and Islam and Buddhism, and you mentioned those quotation in your speech. Have you studied about the Baha'i faith? I'm sure you will find very near and very much close what you were talking and what Abdul Baha also explained in the tablet of Forel to one of the scientists and all. And what else I wanted to tell you? Yeah, that was my question that you have answered. So appreciated and very proud of you. Tahira from Pakistan and Tahira from Qazvin. And actually Tahira from Qazvin was in 1846. He has given her life for emancipation of women. And you are one of those women that you have stand for what he gave her life. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ahmad?
Yeah, Tahira, thank you for your talk and sharing with us your life experiences. Obviously, you know, everyone has got many such experiences in life. And as a Baha'i, I believe that what Baha'u'llah has said, that is that when a revelation occurs from God, that revelation transforms the physical and the spiritual existence, the creation. Like you, I've studied nuclear physics, and I understand quantum physics and astronomy. I love astronomy, and the theories that are current. But I think we know very little about this existence, this creation that God has made.
Yes.
So there are many manifestations, many forms. And if you look at the nature, you see that insects, for example, they transform, you know, go into different structure.
Yes.
And I believe that, well, Abdul Baha has said that, that man also is here, the spirit of man is here to go through many transformations. Yeah. So we are here in this physical world to experience some aspects that we need for our transformation. Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, God speaks with us in a form that our mind and imagination can understand. The experiences that you had is kind of manifestation of your mind, yeah.
Yes.
But through your mind, I would say, yeah, because every one of us has kind of different experience, but that experience is manifested through the way we think, the way we are, yeah, as a person, yeah. The thing that I didn't understand is why we have to transform from a carbon structure to a silicon structure, because that is still a physical thing. The silicon structure and gold is a physical thing. And perhaps we should go beyond that by saying that we don't know the creation, how it is structured. And perhaps God has got many levels or many worlds that man can go through it. Like when we are in the womb of the mother, we getting these legs and arms and eyes and ears, which we do not use there, yeah, in the womb of the mother. But we do that transformation. The infant inside the womb of the mother does those transformations because it needs it in this world, yeah. So the transformations that we are experiencing here in this world of physics is that kind of transformation, to transform us into a form that we need for the world that we will go through after death. Yeah. Can I say that? Can you?
Shall I answer that? Okay. Okay.
So, yes, sorry. Yeah, I was going to say, would you believe in that form because you experiencing these transformations?
Okay. What's happening is that what I've shared with you is actually something which is purely a physical evidence. And that is under my lab environment, we have the samples. And there are people who have experienced this and seen this. But the physical changes, the crystalline, is evidence. We are living in a physical world, and the evidence is being shown. For some people, it's different, but generally, there is a crystalline. A crystalline is able to release out, at least to the spectrum of light more effectively. And it's just purely a physical transformation, which is being shown. It's evidence. It's pure evidence. And this has been already recorded for the past many years. There are more and more people who are experiencing this. So if you're talking about it's like a sort of a abstract thing, it's not really abstract. It's very much proven. It's like I'm sitting here physically, I'm sitting here looking at all of you, you're all virtual. So that physical thing is being shown as evidence. That's it for us to mull over and see what is next. After this, there will be something more, because we are evolving as humans. And as our thoughts and our spirit evolves, the physical form will take on different form. But now it's the silicon crystal, even diamond, who knows? There have been evidence of diamond is not a level, not a level of human becoming diamond. Because anyway, the essence of diamond started from carbon, right? Very, very high pressure. So that's another thing. It's purely evidence.
Well, my point was that what's the need for this physical transformation?
Because for people like yourself, you don't need it. For people like yourself, you don't need it. But for others to understand, there is a science. There is a science and a spiritual. Some people need to know the evidence. Some people may not, because they already have such high faith. Right?
Well, my point was that why such a need for physical transformation where we are in this existence for spiritual transformation? like
Because it is not separate. That's what the message is. It is not separate. It's all happening at the same time. Physical, spiritual, soul, and the whole planet. It's all in sync.
yeah,
It's
obviously body is
not
part
just
of
spiritual. It's all together.
But
Yes.
I guess it's because religion or spirituality and science should go hand in hand. That's
Yes.
why both of them progressing and improving and
Again,
transforming.
breaking.
They should go together.
Yes, you're putting a boundary again. This is not about the boundaries. It's everything in sync together.
Yeah. And, you know, everyone's on their own journey of God being with them, and what we need to keep going in that journey is different between each other, you know. So that's why, you know, we exchange experiences, exchange ideas, so that we can learn from what other people are experiencing, but we need to go our own journey. God wants to be directly embodied in each and every one of us. And I really thank you for your talk tonight. It's really encouraged me to direct my heart and mind to manifest things, not necessarily the crystals, but, you know, like the peace that we need, the reconciliation. Even last night, we had an Aboriginal brother who was talking about at the beginning of the dream time, there was nothing, but there was something in the nothing. When you were talking about that, I heard the echo of his teaching from last night. So that unity of truth is so profound.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your integrity and the courage, and it can give us courage and energy. But it's nearly 9:15, so it might be time to say thank you and good night.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Ave
you.
Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So thank you, everyone, and we will see you next week. Next week will be, because of the centenary of the, you know, Abdul Baha, we will have a special program for it. And
It's not the birth.
Ascension of Abdul Baha, yes. I really thank Tahira, and it's very inspiring. I hope it would have made people to think beyond the boundaries and look for some inspiration and bring unity, as that's truth and integrity. So if there is anyone who has not spoken, want to say anything, otherwise we can close.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good night.
Good night, Ave Maria.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Thank you very much.